Hello, and welcome to the course. My name is Dr. Jason Moyer, and I will be your instructor for Gaston College's Bio 161 course, an Intro to Human Biology, for the spring 2021 semester. And even though this title of the course is an Intro to Human Biology, what the course really is an introduction to human anatomy and physiology. So we will cover a fairly large amount of material in a short amount of time, so it's really important that you keep up with the material. So what we'll do in this video, we will go over how the course is laid out, where you need to go to find all the information that you need, different aspects of the software that you'll need. So what we will do first is we will go over the basic layout of the Blackboard course, and then we'll go over the course syllabus, and then we'll go over a very important software package that you'll need called Mastering A&P. Okay, when you first log into our Blackboard course, this is what you will see. The first page that you will initially see are the announcements. And since we are an online course, I would highly recommend you getting into the habit of checking this page every day or every 2 days. This is where I'll post important information about the course, about certain exams, certain assignments. And you see here the welcome message that I will email out to everyone on the first day of class on Monday, January the 11th. And every posting I do here for the announcements, I will also email out to every student to their Gaston College email address. And every time I make a new announcement, these announcements will get pushed further down. So all the announcements that I post all semester will be available in chronological order. So the next announcement I post will be just above this one, and the next message will be above that one, and so on. On the left-hand side, we have course information. Here you can find the course syllabus, the course schedule, grading policies, information about copyright information, and distance education in general. And we'll come back to this, and we'll talk about the course syllabus and the schedule here in a moment. Faculty information. Here you have information on how to contact me, my email address, my phone number, office location, even though it's going to be very rare that I'm on campus this semester due to our COVID restrictions, and a little bit of a background on me. The link for Mastering A&P we'll discuss a little bit more detail here in a few moments, how to access it, how to use it properly. Lecture notes. All of your notes will be posted in advance of a preceding test. So I will post 2 or 3 sets of notes at a time. So right away there are 2 sets of chapter notes that are available, chapters 1 and 2. All the notes will be in a PowerPoint format. So you can see chapter 1's right here, chapter 2 is right there. And then along with every chapter's notes, I also will post a chapter outcome list. So by the time you are completed with that chapter, these are the things that you should be able to understand or know how to do. It's basically a checklist on what you need to know for that chapter. And as we get further along with our course, additional chapters notes will be posted here on this page. And again, I'll put them in sequential order. So chapters 3 and 5 will be posted next. Once we get to those chapters, I will post those as they are available. Now, in addition to posting the lecture notes in PowerPoint, what I'm also going to do is post lecture videos. They will be listed here. And because this is an online class, I realize that for many people, it's a lot easier to understand material if it is explained to them, either by sitting in a classroom with a teacher right in front of you, or with a tutor or something like that. Some students can just read text from a textbook or from a PowerPoint and be fine with information. Others need a little bit more guidance with that, and that's perfectly fine. So what I'm going to do here for every chapter notes that I post, I'm also going to record a lecture. The same lecture I would give if this were a seated course. So I will explain it the same way I normally would to other sections, but I will record that lecture and put it here and leave it up to you which method you would like to cover that chapter. If you're fine with just going over the PowerPoints, that's perfectly okay. If you want to watch just the videos, that's fine also. If you want to do both, that's fine also. It really is up to you. You know what works best for you and how you can learn things more effectively. So, but for every chapter, you'll have a PowerPoint file and also a video file that goes along with that same lecture. This next link, the Respondus Monitor and Respondus Lockdown Browser. This is something that will be used only for our midterm exam and for our final exam. This is a security software program that helps to cut down on cheating when it comes to bigger assignments like a midterm or like a final. And as we get closer to those assignments, I will brief you on how this will be used. But what the short story here is, it prevents you from opening up other browsers. You can't copy anything. You can't cut and paste anything. You are basically shut down off of everything else on your computer until you complete that assignment. And you are also recorded through a webcam as you take your midterm, as you take your final. So there's more information on this link here if you want to get some more background on it. But again, as we get closer to the midterm, I will explain this in a lot more detail. Discussion board. Every chapter that we have will have its own individual thread. What I do ask is, if you have a question on a certain chapter, make sure that you're putting it in the correct thread. If you have a question on chapter 7, don't put that question in the thread for chapter 2, because it just won't make any sense. And the biggest reason that you'll use the discussion board is this first thread here, the icebreaker assignment. This is something that is required for all online classes. There has to be an assignment that's completed within the first week of the course. If you do not complete this icebreaker assignment, you could be removed from the course. And I'll discuss that more when we get to the syllabus. But all this is a brief introduction of you to the rest of the class. Where you're from, why you're taking the class, any concerns you may have about the class. So you will just create your own thread in this forum and answer those few questions, and then that will count for that assignment. All right, the rest, there are some resources on what you can use. Campus resources, frequently asked questions about the college and the course. But now I want to go back over to course information. We will go over the course syllabus and then the course schedule, and then we'll talk about mastering A&P to wrap up the video. So when you click on this link, you will see a link for the syllabus, the acknowledgement statement, which I'll mention again in a moment, and then the schedule. All right, when we open up our course syllabus, this is what you'll see. We won't talk about every single item in the syllabus. There's just too much to go over. But I do strongly encourage you to read the syllabus. The syllabus is a contract between you, the student, and me, the instructor, and the college in general. So it's like any other kind of contract. You shouldn't sign it without reading it. So make sure that you read it over carefully. If you have any questions, please let me know. But we will talk about some of the key elements. So again, some ways to contact me. Of course, my name, Dr. Jason Moyer. Phone number, the office location on Dallas campus, and the office phone number. Like I mentioned earlier, it's going to be very rare that I'm on campus this semester due to all the restrictions that we have. So trying to call that number or trying to stop by that office location is probably not the best course of action. If you need to reach me, by far the easiest things to do are to email me. And here's my email address here, moyer.jason@gaston.edu, or by texting or calling this number here. This goes to my cell phone. So that way there's a record of you contacting me and a record of me responding back to you. All right, next is a course description. It's a basic survey of human biology. And we'll talk about the basic structures and functions of the various body systems that we have. We'll go over some basic medical terminology also in the very beginning. We'll go over some basic chemistry in the very beginning also. The credit hours, the credits, it's a 3-hour class. There's no lab component to this class at all. Format, of course, this is an online class. So everything that you do will be done online. So it is expected, because you are signed up for an online class, that you have a reliable internet connection in order to do that work. Now, there are computer labs on campus if you need to use them. All campuses at Gaston College have a computer lab somewhere if that is necessary. The textbook and materials, Essentials of Human Anatomy and Physiology, the 12th edition by Elaine Marieb. And then the online software, which is something that you will certainly need, and we will talk about in a lot more detail here in a moment. It's called Modified Mastering A&P. A great majority of all the assignments that you will do in this course are done through this software. You must be able to access it properly. You must be able to use it properly in order to submit your work. If you fail to do this, then you cannot turn in any work, then you're going to end up getting a very poor grade. The college offers versions of Microsoft Office 216 or Office 365 if you don't have copies of that, so that way you have that software that you need available to download for free if you need that. Next topic, Chromebooks and mobile devices. The Chrome operating system does not really work all that great when it comes to Blackboard. Sometimes it's not an issue, but sometimes it is. So it's recommended that you do not use the Chrome software or the Chrome browser when it comes to using Blackboard. It's just not that reliable as you would expect it to be. So we really recommend using something like Firefox as a browser. And also you should not rely on a smartphone or a tablet to do your work on Blackboard. Some features may not work all that well compared to a desktop or a laptop. All right, next topic is Respondus. We mentioned this earlier. This is that Respondus lockdown browser and monitor. Again, this is only going to be used for the midterm exam and the final exam, and it's used to cut down on cheating. Again, you're going to be recorded through a webcam whenever you start the exams. And there's a link here that gives you more information about the Respondus program in general. And as we get closer to the midterm, I'll detail how this will work, how you install it. I will include a practice quiz so you get more accustomed to using it before the actual midterm exam gets posted. If you do not have a webcam or access to a webcam, we can schedule something where you can come on campus and do it in one of our computer labs or in a proctored situation. So if that's something that's going to be an issue, then just let me know in advance of the midterm. All right, skipping ahead to part 2, the course details. The biggest thing is on class attendance and participation. The college policy is you must be an active participant in at least 90% or more of a course in order to remain in that course. And for most classes, especially science classes, if you are not active in that course, you aren't going to do well anyway. You're going to get really behind really quickly. What that really means is if you are not taking an active role in the class, if you aren't doing your normal weekly assignments, then I have the authority to remove you from the class. If you are not active for 21 calendar days, then we are required to remove you from the course. So that's not 21 class days, that's 21 calendar days. So those will include holidays, that includes weekends, that includes student breaks. All right, the withdrawal process, like I just mentioned, if you are not active for 21 days, I have the authority to remove you. And this point here is in red and in bold for an important reason. The last day to withdraw from a class for the spring 2021 semester is April 15th. If you are on a roster after that point, you must get a grade in that course, either A, B, C, D, or F. If you try to withdraw yourself after that deadline, you automatically get an F. If I try to withdraw you after that deadline, you automatically get an F. So of course we'll have plenty of assignments between now and this point. So if you are even somewhat unsure on whether or not you need to stick around in the class or withdraw, then please talk to me ahead of time. Because if you withdraw from a course, you will get a W on your transcripts, but that W does not affect your GPA. Getting a D or an F certainly will impact your GPA. All right, the next big thing we'll talk about is how the course will be graded. And there are different categories of assignments we'll talk about in a second. But this first point is, again, in red and bold because it's fairly important. That first assignment that I mentioned, that discussion board icebreaker, this is something that is required. It must be completed no later than Sunday, January 17th, just before midnight. That doesn't mean you start it at that time. It must be completed and submitted by that point. Anything after that is not going to be counted as on time. So if you don't submit the icebreaker, then that's going to be a potentially very serious problem. You could be and will be removed from the course. The way this course will work, there will be a chapter quiz each week. So we will cover one chapter each week. The chapter quizzes are going to be made available every Friday morning, just after midnight. So technically, just after midnight on Thursday nights. So 12:01 on each Friday. They'll be available all weekend, and they are due no later than just before midnight on that Sunday. After that deadline gets hit, the quiz will go away and then you can't access it anymore. Or every chapter that we do will have a study module that goes with it. Those are due by Friday nights, just before midnight. And even though you are able to review them all semester, these are still assignments that are due on certain days. So the two big days you need to keep in mind throughout the entire course. Every study module is due no later than Friday nights. Every chapter quiz is due no later than Sunday nights. So Fridays and Sundays are the big days for this class for this semester. And you must complete at least one assignment each week to be considered an active participant. So if you don't submit a quiz or a module for multiple weeks, that's going to get you removed from the class. So here's a more detailed breakdown of how the course will be graded. We'll cover 13 chapters, so it's going to be 13 chapter quizzes. Each one's worth 75 points. Each chapter has its own study module at 20 points each. There'll be a midterm exam, final exam, the discussion board icebreaker. And something that we'll do toward the middle or the end of the course is what's known as the GEO project, the General Education Outcome Project. That's something that's required by our department. It's not worth that many points. It is something that is required. I'll mention that as I post that when it's available, probably in early March. You'll have at least a month and a half to do it. It's not going to take all that long. So there are a total of 2,000 possible points that you can accrue in the class. The grading scale is standard throughout every course in the Arts and Science Division. It's a 10-point scale. So 90% to 100% is an A, 80 to 89% is a B, and so on. All right, next is the makeup policy. It is your responsibility as the student to make up any work that is missed due to an excused reason. But there is no makeup work for any unexcused absence. If you forget to take a quiz, it's because you forgot. Well, that's your responsibility. Another thing that's listed here is there are no extra credit opportunities. Viewing grades, all grades will be posted within 24 hours of when they are due. So if you have a quiz that's due by Sunday night, by Monday morning, all those scores will be posted. The course schedule, this is our tentative schedule. Start with Chapter 1, human body, the orientation. Then we'll get into body chemistry, cells and tissues, skeletal system, muscular system, nervous system, then the midterm exam. That will cover everything from the first chapter to the nervous system. Then we'll have endocrine system, blood, cardiovascular system, respiratory, digestive system, urinary, reproductive, and then the final. The final exam is not cumulative. The final exam covers everything from the midterm forward. So think of this as a second midterm exam, basically. So the final will cover everything from Chapter 9 moving forward. The final exam will be made available online at the earliest time that I can post it. So the final will be available on Thursday, May 6th at 4 p.m. It will be due no later than the following Monday. And something that's also important is this box here. Just below the link for the syllabus was the box titled the Syllabus Acknowledgement Statement. You must fill this out to acknowledge that you have read the syllabus and then you are agreeing to all the terms laid out in it. This has to be done no later than January 21st. Our next section is more general information about the course. Students' rights and responsibilities, what you have to expect from me as your instructor, the rights I have to expect from you as students. This one I wanted to mention here, the SEAP, the Student Emergency Assistance Program. If something comes up that's unexpected and say a financial emergency where you need help getting the money for the books or for the software package, there is a fund that the college offers to help students with those kinds of emergent needs. So if that is something that you may have a need for, then you can contact this number here. And our next thing I want to mention is the SOS, the Student Outreach Services. All students and faculty and staff at Gaston College have access to free counseling services available from the college. This is all completely anonymous, but considering the kind of year we've just gone through, and who knows what will happen this upcoming year, we all need to take better care of our mental health. So this is a free counseling services that are available to all of us. So if that is something that you would like to take a part of, there's ways you can access it both either by calling the toll-free number or by logging in online. But again, this is free for multiple sessions, and it is available to everyone at the college, and it is completely anonymous. See, student behavior, this should not be an issue considering we are an online class, but if there's ever a situation where a student is being so disruptive and is preventing others from learning, I have no problem with removing that student from the course, whether it be an online class or a seated class or a hybrid class. Next one, academic dishonesty. There are various categories of what is considered cheating, whether it be plagiarism or being complicit and being dishonest, fabricating information, and so on. All this really boils down to one thing. If you are cheating and you get caught, you're basically going to get thrown out of the class and most likely thrown out of the college. So it truly is not worth it. See, academic complaints. If there are any issues that you may have with the course, you can refer to my bosses, and they're listed here. The chair of the science department, Dr. Armstrong, her office, her phone number, her email are listed there. And then her boss, the dean of the arts and science division, Ms. Broom, her office, her phone number, her email. The next one, the ADA statement. If you have a need for any type of accommodation when it comes to completing your assignments, that has to be documented and approved by our counselors at Gaston College. It doesn't matter if you've had it with a previous school. We have to approve it here at Gaston College before we are able to grant any additional accommodations for students. So if you think that is something that you have a need for, then you're asked to contact the special needs counselors at this phone number here. And if you are approved for accommodations, every instructor that you have will be notified of what accommodations are available to you. So again, we didn't go over every single thing in the syllabus. We just went over the major points, like how the class will be organized, how the class will be graded, and so on. So going back to here, and this is what I was talking about, that syllabus acknowledgement statement here. All you do is when you click on that, it's going to appear like it's a quiz, but all you're doing is you're typing in your name, but you are acknowledging that you have read the syllabus, then you understand it, and you are agreeing to everything laid out there. But that acknowledgement statement must be submitted by the 21st of January. All right, here's our course schedule. Every single assignment that you have in the entire course is listed here, both with the name of what it is and when it is due by. So there's absolutely no excuse for you to come back and tell me I didn't know when something was due, because every assignment that we have is listed right here. All right, the next big thing I need to go over is mastering A&P. Now before we get into mastering A&P, what it is, what you'll find there, how it works, there are some issues that always come up when it comes to the software. So we'll go over those issues next. All right, first of all, mastering A&P is required for this course. Now, every study module is done through mastering A&P. Every chapter quiz is done through mastering A&P. So you must have an access, or you must be able to log in and use that software correctly. Because if you don't, you're not going to do well in the course. Secondly, you will need an access code to log in and to use mastering A&P. Now, students fall into one of three categories typically when it comes to this software. One, you bought a brand new textbook from the bookstore on campus and it has the access code with it. Or you bought a new textbook from the bookstore and it doesn't have the access code. Or three, you have either rented the book or you bought the book from someplace other than our bookstore. Kindle, Amazon, so on. So we'll go over what you need to do in each of these situations. Alright, first, if you bought the new textbook from our bookstore and it has access code, then you are fine. You don't need to do anything. Just make sure that you're able to log in to Mastering A&P, but you log in from Blackboard. Do not go through the publisher's website. Log in from Blackboard, because all you need is the access code that's given to you within the book. If you don't log in from Blackboard directly, I won't see that you have completed the work. And if I don't see that you've done it, then I'm going to assume that you didn't, and you'll get a 0. Alright, second, this is the one that's the most involved. If you bought a brand new textbook from the bookstore and it doesn't have the access code, you can return it for one that does have the code, but you must have the receipt in order to exchange the books, because you cannot exchange the books without one. If you bought the book using your financial aid, your receipt can be looked up through a database, even if you don't have your paper receipt. make sure that when you're getting the new book that it says Modified Mastering A&P. If it doesn't have the word modified in it, then you're getting something different. So you must be using Modified Mastering A&P. If you don't have the receipt, then you must buy an access code from the publisher directly. There's no way I can get around that. But if you use financial aid to buy it, your receipt can be looked up. But if you pay it out of pocket or if you can't find a receipt, you have to purchase it from the publisher directly. And scenario number 3, you either rented the book or you bought it from somewhere else other than the Gaston College bookstore, then you must buy the access code from the publisher. And there are 2 formats you can buy it in. One comes with an electronic textbook and one doesn't. It depends on what you want. The one that has a textbook is a little more expensive than the one that doesn't, but of course you're getting more information and more resources. Alright, so now we covered the issues that come up with mastering A&P. Now we'll get into how it looks when you log in and what everything does. Alright, now that we know how to get into mastering A&P, we'll get into how it looks and what you'll find there. You'll see multiple links. The one you'll probably want to go to is the My Math, the Mastering Course home. So that'll take you to the generic homepage for the software. The assignments are going to be listed here in Mastering Assignments. The electronic textbook will be listed here. A study area is a good resource for other study materials that are found here. But we'll start with the course home. All right, you can see when you first log in, you'll see our course title here, Bio 161, Section D6B, and my name, Moyer, in spring 2021. My layout here will look a little bit different than yours since I'm the instructor. When it comes to the assignments, you can view them in either a calendar view like this or in a list form by clicking this icon here. Everything is color coordinated, so the study modules are always this color here in this image. By hovering over each one, you can see when they are available, when they are due. All the study modules are available right now, so whether it be Chapter 1 or Chapter 16. So all the study modules are available from the very first day of class. The quizzes, right now you only see Chapter 1. It's not available yet. It will be available on the 15th and due by the 17th. But all the quizzes will have this school bus color orange to them. But you can look here for every assignment. The only assignments that are not listed in this calendar are the discussion board icebreaker, because that's a Blackboard assignment, and the midterm and final, and the geo assignments. Those are all Blackboard assignments. Again, the same links that you had in Blackboard you can see here. The e-text, which is just an electronic version of the textbook, study area, so you can break it down by chapter. You can take additional practice quizzes if you'd like to. There's interactive physiology here. There's some lab videos here, some animations that are here. So it's a very good resource to use if you are just more interested in some particular topics, or if you just want to learn more or just get more practice. This is a good place to check out. So again, the Mastering A&P is something that is required for this class. There is a way to get a 2-week free trial, but you have to have access to the software in order to complete this course. There's no other way around it. All right, so that should cover most of the more important things when it comes to this course. But again, if you have questions about anything, either about this video or about the course in general, please feel free to contact me either by emailing me at the college or sending me a text at that number that's on the syllabus. But if you have questions, always feel free to reach out to me. That's what we're here for as instructors. So thank you for watching this video, and I wish all of you the best of luck for this current semester.